Don't blink, kiss your blink. Welcome to part 2 of Why Kenny versus Penny. I am so sorry. We have a problem where the weather is too warm. So what I like to do, because I create content a lot, right? Creating content for a couple of years. I like to have different playthroughs. So right now we have 3 playthroughs of the same game. And it does heat up the phone. The weather outside is really warm, so it did overheat, which is normal. Like I was saying, my father and I would have good conversation, and he would talk to me. He would come to my room to talk to me and say, "Hey, how was your day?" Just like that. And then she would talk to him, and then he was mad at me. So I knew she talked. And I was like, "If you have something to say, why don't you tell me? Why did you go to my father's house?" Now, the truth is, my father told her, "Hey, I'm raising him, so don't get involved." That I didn't know. But long story short, I would stay in my room, right? And I don't even know where I was going with that. But Kenny versus Penny, it was such a bad environment. I was like, I'm not gonna get away with my strength. And Kenny, I was looking for a lesson he taught me, and now I had time to relax and think about it. And if Kenny taught me something, is survive. See, I was worshiping Kenny because it was so smart, but he was willing to go at places where nobody else went. One of my favorite episodes ever is "Who Can Catch a Bigger Fish?" One of the last episodes that I watched. And I got lucky because in the order that I watched them, it made sense. Why is that such a good episode? Because in this episode, he basically tell Spenny, "Hey, I'm gonna cheat. No matter what, I'm gonna cheat." And Spenny's like, "If you tell me you're gonna cheat, you're not gonna cheat." But he did cheat. And that was just the mind power that he had on him. Now, at the end of the show, the season 6 possibly is one of the weakest. They got kind of lazy, but it was such a show. And then that's on Kenny. But why did I like Kenny versus Penny? Is once again, you start to watch the show because it's just so freaking good. It's just, how can I even put this in word? It's just something that never should have happened. The word that they use the faggot, they use retarded. There's a lot of racial joke. There's a lot of anti-Semitism joke. It's something that it shouldn't happen. It really shouldn't happen, you know? And it was a show, like Trailer Park Boys. They were talking about growing weed. But back when weed was illegal. So it's just places show that never should have happened. Like Kenny giving acid to Penny. Never should have happened. Never should have happened on TV, but this is recorded on TV. One of my favorite moments. And also, Kenny, and this eternal knowledge that he bestowed upon me, taught me something very important. And there's a moment that I want to actually, because to this day, I'm a fan of Kenny. I'm not a fan of Kenny as much as I used to be, for simple reason. We'll get into it after that. But for now, there's moments like, for example, right? Who did she like the most? So technically, they have this date. They're supposed to date the same girl. Kenny takes a girl, and it's like, yo, you're not even gonna date the girl. You have no chance. However, when he does date the girl, he's actually really treating her nice, and he's really nice to her, and he's really trying to seduce her. First of all, or another episode where he's like, who does old lady like more? Who do old people like more? So they got 3 old Jewish lady. And you see Kenny going to his mom and asking for help, but you also see Kenny hiring an actor which has Down syndrome. So, and the fact that he has a Down syndrome brother is like he has victory. But how he treat the Down syndrome brother, he treat him so nicely that he treat him so nicely that you're like, okay, well, I don't really give a fuck what happened, right? Because he was so nice to the guy, and the humiliation that Spenny did were always weird. So, for example, right? Places that Kenny went too far. I would say, who can win a 10-mile race? But like his mother is dead, right? But at the same time, you didn't see Kenny vs. Penny. I believe was a bit scripted. The show that I watched lately, I watched Who's the Better Rapper. This is clearly scripted, but it doesn't make sense. So, for example, it's Spenny, and this is I think who's going to win the 10-mile race is the picture perfect episode for Kenny versus Penny. You got Kenny who pretend like his mom is dead, so you cannot run. He has a funeral because Spenny goes to the funeral. Kenny starts the race and actually race, right? But you have an episode where who's the strongest? Kenny has a younger sister called Miriam. Kenny has 2 siblings. He has his older brother and his younger sister Miriam. Kenny and I forgot his brother name. Ronnie, Ronnie Hotz. It's Safi Hotz. It is Ronnie Hotz. It is Kenny Hotz and his I just said her name, fucking Miriam Hotz. And we have Spinny. Spinny only has his mom, which is Corinne Nolan Rice. So in this episode, like for example, there's an episode where he's supposed to wrestle against the sister of Kenny, and then he makes a lot of research, like how much can you bench, and oh, she's doing steroids, and in this one, like, oh, your mother's dead, okay, I believe you, you know. So it just doesn't feel kind of real. Now the reason why I kind of not necessarily dislike, um, kind of the reason why I'm not as worshipy towards the queen with sword. The reason why I'm not as worshipy with Kenny is actually really simple. So Kenny, in my opinion, Kenny had his prime. So Kenny, see, Kenny was okay with being a villain. There's clips of him. Kenny was fucking doing Adolf Hitler impression, you know, which is fucked up no matter how you look at it. Kenny was doing some red carpet and he was pants down. Look at my boxers. He didn't care. Kenny came out and said, "Oh well, I regret what I did back then. There's some action that I wouldn't have done today." And I'm like, dude, your whole purpose is the show. Your whole purpose was, I want to win. I want to win. I want to win. And the beauty of the show is that the beauty of the show is for Spenny, the winner of the competition is who wins the competition, and for Kenny, the winner doesn't do the humiliation. So you know that's the mentality. Kenny came out and said he was regretting what he did back then. Also, Kenny is in a really, really weird place where he's super successful. He has a couple of business. He has a couple. Yes, he's a father. He has a lovely wife, Aubrey. She's super cute. She's super uber cute. The problem with Kenny, my biggest problem with Kenny, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of not actually pissed off at him, but he treats Kenny versus Penny as a cult, as a movie cult. He calls it like his magnum opium. It's his best piece of content. This is the best thing in reality TV. It got him where he went. He met Matt and Stone. He ended up on South Park, writing for South Park. And there's time where I feel like he's talking about it as in, I don't care. Or for example, he'll post it on YouTube, and he won't even put the season. I'm like, dude, this is your magnum opium. You treat it like it's your fucking 16 Chapel, but you don't really. And I understand the show is 20 years old, but this is your baby. You know, when you, and I don't want him to die, but when you want him, when Kenny's gonna be dead, what happened to Kenny versus Penny is gonna be different. But as for now, he has to protect it because it's his baby. And whatever he talks about it's like, oh my god, nothing is like this. This is the best show. And Kenny is very narcissistic, which fine. I don't mind. I don't think it matters. But he's very narcissistic in a way where this is what made you famous. Don't you want to protect it? Don't you want to? I feel like there's this disconnection, right? There's this connection. Lately, I haven't heard Kenny talk about Trials of the Will in such a long time. And I know this is nitpicky, and I know it's fucking stupid because who am I to say, oh, I don't like this character, I don't like this guy. I do like Kenny, but Kenny is a person I worshipped. It's so funny because Kenny had a fascination for cults, and if there was a cult of Kenny, I would have been in it for sure. But it was the entire discography of Kenny. The entire discography of Kenny, in the sense of, I watched the Papal Chase, which I thought was phenomenal. The Papal Chase was, how far can you go with just sheer will? How far can you go with just a dream? Papal Chase felt to me like we're gonna go there and we're gonna do something. It's just about seeing the Pope. That's the only thing. And Kenny, as a Jew, seeing the Pope was really something. He disguised himself into Satan. It's really weird. You don't watch Papal Chase because it's good. You don't watch Papal Chase because you want to see Kenny meet the Pope. You watch Papal Chase because you see a young Kenny with a dream. One of my favorite pieces from Kenny vs. Penny is Pitch, which is the movie they did. Pitch is a brilliant piece of cinematic. I should be doing a review of Pitch. Because I'll do another video, I'll do a review of Pitch. Okay, so this is pretty much it. So now we're gonna be starting with this. Fuck it, let's do it here. Who gives a shit? Anyway, Pitch, in my opinion, is the best kind of content there is. It's Kenny and Spenny. They both have this dream of making it big, right? And they have this this dream, and they have the script, and it's how to sell your script. And now the cool thing that they did is they film people and giving their script, so they kind of put pressure on them, like, yo, people know that you got the clip. If this is a good movie, people will know that you fumble. And they put people in the corner, and it's just about the dream, and it's just about Kenny trying to sell the script, Penny trying to sell the script. It's about moving. It's about having no fucking money. It's about Kenny having his girlfriend over, and they're young, they're living the dream. One of my favorite moments in the Pitch is they come in and, like, okay, well, there's this, and this is a brilliant movie because you know some of the script, but you don't know everything. So you come in and you're like, okay, well, guess what? We have this script to sell. Let's sell it. And then there's this I'm not gonna tell you what. I don't even remember what, but there's this really positive thing that happened, and then you see them running on the beach and smiling and laughing, and it just feels like a victory. Pitch isn't about a script. Pitch isn't about two broke dude. It's about two broke dude with a fucking dream, and the dream is Pitch. I'm pitching you a script, but I'm pitching you my dream. Give me my chance. Give me my opportunity. That is pretty much it. Anyway, we're gonna start with the the review. That is pretty much it. Super excited. Yeah, fucking let's go.